Maybe you've seen this lately, or this, or this, or maybe even this. But what's the deal with this DirectX 11? And why should you start playing Planetside 2 right now? Let me explain. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Faber1, and like always, I am your Planetside 2 guru for all the news in and around Planetside. If you do want to stay up to date with more Planetside news, please consider pressing that big red subscribe button down below. But I ask the question, why should you start playing Planetside 2 right now? Yes, today. Before I can really answer that question, I need to give you guys some backstory about Planetside 2. Planetside 2 is a successor of the original Planetside and released in 2012. One of the big differences between the original Planetside and Planetside 2 is that Planetside 2 was free to play from the get-go. Unlike many other free to play titles, Planetside 2 has always emphasized, for example, cosmetics, armors and different things that not make the game pay to win. Right now, almost 7 years later, the game is still around and has still active development. However, as usual with all the games, the developer team is not that big anymore as it used to be. So instead of new content every week, we get big patches every now and then. The reason why you're seeing all these news articles and all these new videos pop up about DirectX 11 and a new patch and new stuff in Planetside 2 is because right now you have had the biggest patch since 2016. All these bigger patches create a certain amount of hype, and this time there is a reason to be hyped. Not only have there been architectural changes to the game so it runs more fluent, you have more better performance, but also there was a big content update with a 4th faction added to the game, and also in general a lot of quality of life improvements. I'm gonna say this right now because probably other people are gonna mention this in the comments, and yes, together with all the big and nice things, there also have been added a few bugs to the game. Some of the bugs are hilarious, but also some of the bugs are kinda game breaking. But still guys, I am gonna say it right now, this is probably the best moment to start playing Planetside 2. And again, to the more experienced players watching right now, fight me in the comments down below if you disagree, but let's hear me out. First of all, in general, Planetside 2 is a one-of-its-kind game. If you don't know what kind of game it is, please watch my Is It Worth to Play in 2019 video. I will link it up in your right top corner right now. But okay, again, Planetside 2 is one of its kind and there is no game alike. And I don't expect any game coming soon that is just a bit like Planetside 2. In general, I would always recommend playing Planetside 2, so I am kinda biased. But there is a reason why I say go play right now. To start off with, Planetside 2 has always been around big player numbers. The more players you have, the better the war is, the better your fights are, and the more amazing it feels to play around on the world of Arrakis, and that's the world of Planetside. Since we had the patch, a lot of players returned to the game, and a lot of new players, maybe like you, decided to start playing Planetside 2. We're seeing more players than ever in 2019, which is amazing. What happens right now if you decide to log in? You're seeing utterly mind-blowing fights. Think about participating in a real battle between the Empire from Star Wars and the Rebels. To make it even sound better, in the latest patch they also added this 4th faction that I mentioned earlier, and this 4th faction are only robots. They do not really look like the droids from Star Wars, but I really think they add a nice touch to the game. But okay, as I was telling, Planetside 2 really shines when it has a lot of players to play at the same time. So, if you want to see that, if you want to be part of that, I think guys, this is the time to start playing, because yes, right now the game is a little bit hyped, and like with every hype, a hype dies down after a while. Still, there will be amazing fights, but right now you're seeing the best fights you will probably have in a long time. Also, and I think it's very important to mention, is that the game is relatively hard, especially due to the fact that we have got players that have 7 years of experience almost of playing this game. So yes, those people are pretty good. So yes, if you are this fresh recruit just joining the battle, the chances are pretty high you will get slaughtered the first few battles. Unlike games of Call of Duty, where the time to kill is very low and having to jump on somebody is very important, this game really rewards skill. If you are able to use your skill and aim on the head consistently, you will down somebody 2 times as fast. This is one of the only games I know where if you have to jump on somebody and he starts shooting first, you still have some possibility to recover. And yes, it is hard because there's still the guy that surprises you has an advantage, but there is this chance if you are a better player, if you are really skilled, you can come back. To get these skills though, you need to train, you need to play a lot, and I still remember when I just started playing this game, sometimes I got really frustrated because it just was so hard to get my first kills. But once you master or kinda master the game, it really starts to pay. But okay, what I want to say with this is that you need to train, and it is also more fun if you also are able to get more easy kills and have more fights on your level. Because of all the hype, a lot of new players are coming in like you on your level. So probably if you start playing, it is just in general a bit easier to get kills, which is very nice I think. Again, I don't say it's impossible if you start, for example, after like 2 months to get still the same kills. But in general guys, because this game has such a high skill ceiling, there is also a kinda high learning curve. And right now this learning curve is way more forgiving. I do also have to mention something different. Planetside 2 is really an MMO. It is more than just shooting people, it is really also a community driven game. Like with many other MMOs, there are a lot of community groups like guilds or clans. And in this game they are called outfits. Outfits, for example, organize op nights, and those are just nice to play together, have fun together, but also use tactics together to get, for example, a certain base. There are a lot of different outfits. You got the more casual ones and you got the more hardcore ones. But one thing I know for sure right now, a lot of outfits are recruiting, accepting new players, and also if you want them, you can also get training by one of these outfits. I can imagine that if you're a solo player, it is very hard to connect with a group of experienced players. But right now, like I mentioned before, there are a lot of new players, and a lot of new players are interested in joining groups, having bigger fights, organized fights. And I think if you want to join an outfit, if you want to start playing with an outfit, with a group, this is the time to play again. I am right now mentioning a lot of the group work, but also for solo players, this is a good moment to start playing. I can understand if you're a busy student or a busy worker, they don't always have time to get involved with these bigger communities, bigger groups, but you just want to play some solo, then still I would say this is really the right moment. Again, like in many other MMOs, there is in general a chat. There are different in-game voice chats, but also just a normal text chat. I do have to admit that in this game, it might be pretty hard as a new player, because some things in this game are just very vague. How does it work to spawn? How does it work to revive? How does it work to fly a vehicle? Etc, etc, etc. In general, I've got the feeling that a lot of the community members, also the more experienced players, really take the time to show you around, give you some tips and tricks, and just help you move forward. Because yes, again, it's a very difficult game, and you will probably need the help. Just as a small example, yesterday I was playing and someone was just completely lost. And he just asked something in the general chat, and not only one, not only two, not only three, so many people were trying to help this guy with his problems. This guy also showed his appreciation to all the help he got, and I think it really shows how, I don't know, how helpful this community is. And in general guys, if you are willing to become part of a gaming community, I really can't imagine anything else better than Planetside 2. I mentioned this in other videos before, but the gaming community around Planetside 2 feels very mature. I'm not saying we have 0 players below the age of 18, but if you are younger than the age of 18 and you are allowed to play these games from your parents or your guardian, then of course just go ahead. What I want to say about this is that players behave very mature, which is I think very important in the gaming community. At least we have 0 Call of Duty crybabies, so that's very nice. I do have to say one final thing right now, and that is, yes, there are, like I mentioned, bugs. But if you keep playing, you'll get rewarded, because right now, yes, right now, until the 5th of May, we got a double XP week. Like I said before, Planetside 2 is a free-to-play game, but you could use real-life money to speed up the process to get more weapons quicker and faster. If you decide to start playing on one of these days, you will level up a lot quicker or gain battle ranks in this game a lot quicker. Overall, you will just have an amazing kickoff to your Planetside 2 career. And if you do like the game a lot and you do want to maybe to spend a few bucks on the game, then there are over the coming weeks a few discount bundles, which for example have a few camouflages or armors or even weapons. But remember, it is a free-to-play game, and by no means do you need to buy stuff. The standard weapons you have are sometimes even considered one of the best in the whole game anyway, so really, you don't have to buy anything. But okay guys, you listened long enough right now. My conclusion, my advice to you is, go to the Steam store Search for Planetside 2 and just install it. It is free to play, so if you don't like it, you can deinstall it tomorrow again. If I'm still correct, the game is only 10.7 gigabytes, so it probably will fit on your SSD or maybe even on your hard disk. So guys, just try it out. You won't lose anything by playing the game, really. You will probably only have fun. But then again, if you like what you see and also want to play more and know more about the game, then please consider subscribing to the channel. Having said that though guys, I am Faber1 and I will see you soon with some more content.